Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. I was finally able to focus on Heroic Ragnaros after doing the Trial Mythic event, and I have two excellent comps for you here to take out Heroic Ragnaros. So I have one for Drakkisath and I have one for Malfurion. For this first heroic Molten Core, Drakkisath has undoubtedly been the star of the show, the strongest leader, because you really want to get that last phase transition, you want your army to be there, Deathball to be there, and to take Ragnaros all the way, if at all possible. And Drakkisath is by far the best enabler for that, because Drakkisath has a resistance aura, so every minion around Drakkisath is resistant, which means that everyone is just going to survive so much better. And yeah, Drakkisath is just incredibly strong in this one. And fast Drakkisath is really the best way that you can do this. Because with this comp, you can give Drakkisath either fast with Dryad, or you can give it armor with Frostwolf Shaman. So fast Drakkisath can catch up, so you have other Drakkisaths already nearby, almost Ragnaros, or you need to get just one more Drakkisath in before the sun spawn, and fast Drakkisath can just run over there and get there. Also, fast Drakkisath is wonderful against Majordomo Executus, because fast Drakkisath can just close in the distance so quickly that Majordomo can't kill it, and then it's actually going to kill Majordomo. Just a phenomenal thing. And then, of course, Drakkisath kind of needs some healing. Deathballs want healing, and that healing comes from Frostwolf Shaman. Priestess is too fragile, and Frostwolf Shaman also has Earth Shield. Frostwolf Shaman can give Drakkisath armor. So if you're playing Drakkisath into a position where you know it's going to fight against the Molten Giant, it's going to fight against the Core Hound, you just want to give it armor instead, so it's going to be able to handle that encounter. Then a little bit of Defiance Bandits for extra gold, a couple of Unbounds, so Whelpex and Safe Pilot, just taking out some of those casters, and Dark Iron Miner for mining. The idea being here that I want there to be a lot of cheap minis here, because the key is to play Drakkisath, 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 Drakkisath. What I have seen in open queue so far is that lots of Drakkisath players have very expensive armies and they play very few Drakkisaths. But you want to play many Drakkisaths. That's like the whole point. So that's the Drakkisath army. And then I have also one for Malfurion. And for Malfurion, I have this one. So with Malfurion, my problem typically has been that I end up in a draw. I just don't have the damage to kill Ragnaros. But with this army, I have the damage to kill Ragnaros. Because here I have Worgen, and I have Whelpex. So pretty standard stuff, Whelpex. Oof, they get popped Worgen, then they start hitting. And I have Execute. Well, Flamewicker elites block Execute, so you can't execute while they are alive. But they're going to be killed pretty early on, and then they do come back at the end. You can either try to kill them, or you can just not use Execute at the end, but you can still use Execute for a couple of phases. And those phases are really crucial, because with this Execute you can get Ragnaros through the phases faster, so you will have more time in phase 3, so you won't run out of time. And that's already good work from Execute. And in addition to this, I have a Bog Beast here. Bog Beast can tank. Bog Beast can tank Sons of Flame, for example. You can also just execute them in the first batch anyway, because there's no Flamewicker elites around at that point. And I have a Safe Pilot. I've been using Safe Pilot a lot now against Ragnaros, because spells are occasionally blocked, and Safe Pilot just can deal boss damage, and it can kill a lot of casters as well. And some Defiance Bandits for some extra code, and of course Malfurion itself with Germinate, because Malfurion with Germinate, you get those seeds on the towers, and then the towers just won't go down. And you try to play Malfurions at towers that don't have seeds on them. So you play Malfurion there, it gives the tower the seeds, and then a meteor arrives and the tower is not going to be destroyed. So that's the point there. And with this, well, dedicating a lot of resources in this Unbound spell thing, I was finally able to have enough damage as Malfurion to take out Ragnaros, even if I don't have a Drakkisath partner. So let's go take a look at both of these. First, the Drakkisath. Turtle helped me with that one, so we have Turtle's gameplay footage of that, because obviously my account was logged into Malfurion, and then my gameplay on Malfurion. Let's go take a look at those in action. Alright, here we go. Turtle playing with the fast Drakkisath and with a Malfurion partner against Ragnaros. So here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. This Malfurion is bringing gargoyles into the mix. Okay, so time to get some Drakkisaths out there. This Drakkisath is going to get armor. Then it's going to go ahead and start fighting at the tower. Then there's going to be need to attack also the other lane, because now everything is going to the right lane. It will be important to get to the left lane as well. Otherwise, this just won't make much sense, because you need to get rid of the Flamewaker elites. So next Drakkisath is coming. A bit of a living bomb, but Drakkisath at least gives everybody resist. And obviously Drakkisath itself is pretty sturdy like that. So here another Drakkisath, also an armored Drakkisath going in. Yeah, Pyromancer. Boink. And Drakkisath is just so hilarious. It just kills stuff. Now, obviously, a little bit of a timing issue, because now one of the Flamewaker elites was killed and the other one is still alive, so it's going to resurrect the other one in 10 seconds. So, yeah. So the other one was resurrected, now it needs to be killed again, but Drakkisath it's just so sturdy with that resistant, and when it bonks, it bonks. Now again, no, fast Drakkisath was able to race and kill the one on the right, but now it was able to summon the one on the left again. But this time Drakkisath made it just in time. And alright. So Flamewaker elites are gone. Now Major Domo, like even slow Drakkisath does have some issues getting to that Major Domo. It takes so much damage. If there was a fast Drakkisath there, it would get to Major Domo so much easier. But alright, another Drakkisath coming. The flame waves are here. Ragnaros has emerged. And it's time to start attacking again. Again, this sort of defense in depth. So safe pilot catching a couple of casters. That's a huge win. Lots of gold gained in a sense, because enemies were eliminated. And now there's Drakkisaths, there's armored Drakkisaths, there's fast Drakkisaths. You have to wonder always, like, which one do you need? Armored Drakkisath obviously good here against the tower. Tower tries to shoot at armored Drakkisath. Armored Drakkisath takes less damage. Good against that Core Hound. Good against the Molten Giants. And then again, fast Drakkisath, well, it just runs. And I mean, the tower isn't going to last very long against fast Drakkisath either, because fast Drakkisath is just going to go in. Now this armor ended up on the Harvest Golem, which is obviously a little bit bad, because as you can see, when Drakkisath doesn't have armor, then the Core Hound actually deals a fair bit of damage. Here it goes down. Alright, one Drakkisath is at the boss. Now that one died. There's now these resistant gargoyles around. More Drakkisaths are coming. Alright, so far so good. Couple of more Drakkisaths going towards the boss. Couple of gargoyles out there. So looks like this is going to be fairly soon. The first phase transition and the arrival of the suns will happen. A little bit of living bombing, but I mean, Drakkisath just survives and boink boink. Alright, Sons of Flame time. Now, there is a Drakkisath on the right fighting, and now there's a Drakkisath on the left fighting. So these Suns shouldn't stand a chance. That living bomb with the low health Drakkisath, that Drakkisath is probably going to go down. No, it didn't quite go down, but it will soon, because there's so much stuff coming. Alright, and then... So one sun remaining. Need to catch that sun. It's also a Molten Giant, so it's not going to be easy, unless that Banshee takes the Giant, and it does. That's beautiful. And the Giant kills the Flamewaker. That's wonderful. And now, the fast Drakkisath. The fast Drakkisath was able to run away from the Flamewaker, but not quite. Yeah, it did end up getting the meteor at the tower anyway. So wasn't perfect. But there's still one Drakkisath pushing at Ragnaros. On the other hand, that is not very meaningful at this point, because you want a death ball, you want multiple Drakkisaths to push the last two phases in a single go. That's the goal. And there's 2.5 minutes to do that. So time is a little bit tight here, but it's still possible. First need to get some towers, work your way up, then it's potential to get all sorts of fast Drakkisaths and everything out there. Right, overtime. So now there's the income. Income is here. So now Drakkisath, Drakkisath, and Drakkisath is what is needed. Let's see. Oh, that was a beautiful save pilot, also from the Malfurion player. Right, and now there's like a slow Drakkisath and there's a fast Drakkisath, so you can play around with this shaman and this dryad, so that you will be able to get multiple Drakkisaths right where you need them at the same time. Because some of them will just run fast and some of them will be a little bit more sturdy. All right, another tower taken. That's good. Now, a little bit of gold being saved. And as soon as the tower gets up, I'm sure there's going to be a Drakkisath there, and there is. This one is an armored Drakkisath. And then cycling, trying to get to a position where there's going to be another Drakkisath, and this one also going to be an armored. I thought that would have been fast, but oh, armored Drakkisath should be fine. Right. Getting a bit of damage in, and now that's going to be fast Drakki, right? Yes, that's definitely going to be fast Drakki. So 4 Drakkisaths are on the way to Ragnaros. There's not a whole lot of time left, but there's a whole lot of Drakkisaths coming. And just look at that. Oh my goodness. One Drakkisath also for tanking the Son of Flame there, but so many Drakkisaths. They're just hitting the Ragnaros. Bonk. And Ragnaros ends up going down to the power of Drakkisath. Then the other comp that I have prepared, and this one is a Malfurion comp. And with Malfurion, I mean, if I had a Drakkisath partner, yeah, life is pretty good. As long as the Drakkisath partner actually knows to play Drakkisaths. Because I have so many open queue partners who just, so for some reason, don't want to play those Drakkisaths out there. But when I don't have a Drakkisath partner, then what? Well, now I have a Sneed partner here. And previously I had a whole bunch of draws, like also playing Sneed with a Malfurion partner and playing Malfurion with Sneed partner. But here I have now added Execute into the comp. And the power of Execute is going to mean that when Flamewalker elites are not around, I'm just going to be able to push so much more damage to Ragnaros. Execute is percentage based. Ragnaros has tons and tons of health, so Execute deals a lot of damage. And it also gives Bloodlust to the Worgen, or the eggs. And then that's just going to blast through. And here also, because I have so many unbounds, as you can see, the Flamewalker elite on the right side was killed, and then the one on the left side was killed almost instantly thereafter. Save pilot Worgen to help out Sneed. So far this has been really, really good. And now, Major Domo. Well, there's no Flamewalker elites anymore, which means that I can actually just execute it. And then Ragnaros arrives, and obviously when Ragnaros arrives, there's going to be meteors, and then there's going to be the flame waves. Here I'm a little bit uncertain whether I sent the Bok Beast too early. No, it was just fine. I also really want to let Sneed take the chest whenever possible. I want Sneed and Sneed Siege Minis to take the towers whenever possible. So I'm also not pushing as hard for some of those as I would if I didn't have a specifically Sneed partner, because that gives me gold. On the other hand, I don't want the towers to go down all the time, so I am still protecting the towers with the seeds. Because we need bases that we can deploy from as well. Losing all the gold from the top left, that's a little annoying. That save pile was hopelessly late. There was no chance for that to do anything good. And here again, Malfurion. There's a tower without seeds on it. Malfurion over there. Now there's seeds. Tower gets protected. Life just gets better. And then throwing some Worgen, some eggs out there. Still haven't been able to get the top right tower, although I suppose it's almost done. Alright, then we're trying to get into a rhythm where... Alright, there's the AoE, then the Worgen execute. Ragnaros killed the Worgen, unfortunately. Yeah, that's because Ragnaros in phase 1 has the Molten Armor. So it has the damage reflect, and then it deals damage. Normally, level 30 Worgen would survive that, I think. But here, it hits, it takes some damage, then Ragnaros hits more damage, and the Worgen dies. But it's only during phase 1. Ragnaros will lose the Molten Armor as soon as we get through this phase. So getting through this phase is really important. It will make all of Ragnaros' minions weaker as well, because every mini has the armor plus damage reflect during this phase. Here I'm also executing that gargoyle, so hey, let's give the gargoyle a chance to hit a little bit harder too, because why not? And Worgen couldn't quite make it. Alright, so we will need a little bit more. Just a little bit more something. Now we have a lot of gold coming. Let's get that phase. Still can't get... We could get the phase. We could get the phase. Alright, that's excellent. So then it's time to start fighting. And execute still works here. Elite Flamewakers are not up. So I'm able to drop some executes on these. Help out the Sneed. And overall things are looking reasonably good so far. Now we don't have a lot to challenge the sun on the right. I'm sending a Bok Beast. There is a Malfurion on the board, so Bok Beast has healing available. And hoping some execute with those whelps, and look at that. That was wonderful too. And now suns are down, which means another phase transition. There's going to be the meteors, there's going to be the flame waves. All the towers will inevitably be lost here. Boom, boom. If there are minis that are pretty high up on the lane, but they are not quite all the way there. So they're not at the tower, they don't get killed by the meteor, but they can be higher than the place where the flame wave begins. Then they can sometimes survive it a little bit. Alright, so again, because I'm teaming up with the Sneed, I want the Sneed to take towers. Because that's going to give us money. The Flamewaker and the Molten Giant, that's juicy for some Whelpegs. We're sending some Whelpegs out there. Also trying to protect the towers with seeds. We just got the germination seeds there though, but still. Also trying to catch those casters when I can. I'm waiting for Sneed to take the chest. I guess I could take it with bandits here. Because Sneed was just played and bandits are the same as taking it with a random siege mini. We'll see. Anyway, now it's overtime. And it's time to start attacking Ragnaros. So we need a lot of attack power going into Ragnaros. There are some gargoyles coming in from Sneed. And then I'm sending those Worgen, and I can also bloodlust some gargoyles, bloodlust some Worgen. Now no more damage reflect, as you can see, so the Worgen survives. And last phase begins. So here I was actually thinking, hey, they didn't spawn it, I can still execute. Nope, lost 3 gold, execute was lost. I was a little too slow to execute, the Flamewaker Elite spawned. But as you can see, there is actually a small window of opportunity there. When the phase changes, Flamewalker Elites are not yet spawned, you could get an Execute down there. I could have gotten an Execute there if I didn't check first whether the Flamewalker Elites have spawned. So you just have to know it. So instead I decided to just send eggs and send Worgen with Ragnaros. And it gets pretty close, but Ragnaros does fall with no Drakkisath around as well. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.